Budgeting helped me pay off over $40,000 in debts and save for a house in my mid-20s while making around $20 an hour. Budgeting is powerful and it doesn't have to be complicated. I'm gonna show you the very basics of creating a budget. So if you're a beginner, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Jacob Wade from Lunch Money. I'm a financial coach, and today we're gonna walk through step by step how to create your very first budget. I want to show you exactly what to do so you don't feel overwhelmed. And if you stick to the end of this video, I want to show you how to create that budget right within the Lunch Money app for an even easier process. So let's get right into it. Now, before we actually start writing down numbers, the first thing you actually want to do before you create a budget is to perform a financial audit. Now, what I mean by financial audit is you're literally going to go back and audit your past spending and your income. The best way to do this is download your bank statements, credit card statements, physically look at the numbers to see where your money has disappeared to. You're going to want to go through each transaction and categorize them so you know, okay, I spent about this much on groceries and this much on eating out and this much on gas, and here's how much my utilities cost. The idea is to get realistic numbers to create a baseline budget from. The problem is a lot of people that start budgeting, and I've seen this for over a decade being a financial coach, is people will sit down and start writing numbers on paper, pull out a paper and pen, write the numbers down and think, okay, I've created my budget. But all you did is write numbers on paper. If they're not based in reality, if you have no idea where your money has been going, you're never going to stick to that budget. You're going to get frustrated when you blow it, and you're just going to throw it out the window. So the first thing you want to do is look at your real numbers. Now, of course, Lunch Money makes this super simple. All you got to do is grab Lunch Money for free. We got a 30-day free trial link below, no credit card required. Connect your financial accounts, your credit cards, your checking account, and then what it'll do is it'll pull in your past spending for you. It'll actually go back over 90 days, and you look at the data. You can go, oh, I know that I've spent this here, and here's about my average income. We'll automatically categorize your transactions and track everything for you. So again, if you want the easy button on the financial audit, go ahead and do that. But the bottom line is come up with some realistic numbers so as you start to create your budget, it's based on reality. All right, so first things first, when you're creating a budget, you always want to start at the top with income. And we're just going to write this all down on paper here. So I'm not talking about what you get paid. I'm talking about what actually hits your bank account. So you might make a certain amount every couple of weeks, or maybe you make a certain amount per month on a salary, but then you've got taxes taken out. You've got healthcare expenses. Maybe you put some money in your 401k. You never see that money. When you create a budget, you're just trying to figure out, how do I utilize the dollars that I'm touching? So you only want to write down the money that hits your bank account. And in addition to your job, if you have any side hustles or anything else, record all that income. Truly, we just want to make a plan for all the money you're going to end up touching. So just at the top of the page here, you're going to just have an income section, and we'll just do, and if you want to break it down by individual paycheck, you can, but we'll just say paycheck income. And let's say you bring home $4,500 per month. But then maybe you have a side hustle. Maybe you sell some stuff on Etsy, or you walk dogs, or you drive for Uber or something. And let's say you bring in another $1,000 a month from your side hustle. So your total income here is going to be $5,500. So that's what you're going to be working with for the month. Now, the goal is, again, to make sure that we make a plan for all of these dollars that come in. If you have variable income, you're not quite sure how much you make per month or if it changes. If you want to find that information quickly, you could just sync your checking account to Lunch Money, and it'll find all the money that you've deposited over the last 90 days, and you can average it out from there. But let's just say you bring home $4,500 and $1,000 from your side hustle, so you have $5,500 to work with. The next thing is we want to focus on your fixed expenses. Now, fixed expenses are the things that happen every month. They don't usually change very much. This is going to be something like your rent or your utilities or a subscription or your internet service or your cell phone bill, things that are typically bills or something that you end up paying on a regular basis automatically usually. These are your fixed expenses. And so again, if you don't know exactly how much that is, if you connect your spending accounts, whether it's a credit card or your checking account to Lunch Money, we'll find all that information for you and kind of show your average spending month over month. But let's just write down a couple of options here. So this could be something like your rent, maybe you have a car payment, and that's important to note. Your debt minimum payments are also going to be included in your fixed expenses. They're a regular bill that comes through, right? You've got utilities, maybe you've got an internet bill, cell phone bill, you got cell phone. Maybe you have a credit card. If you have a credit card, what we're going to write down here is only your credit card minimum payment. And then this would also be things like insurances, right? So if you have car insurance, you would write that down here as well. Again, think monthly bills. And then maybe subscriptions. So now that you have your fixed expenses written down, think about the things that you spend money on a daily basis. These are your variable expenses. Usually they change month to month. I also like to call them daily expenses. The things where you go and they're like going into a store and you swipe in the card. So this would be stuff like groceries or restaurants or entertainment. You're going out to the movies, maybe you go to a concert, or if you go shopping. And then also includes online shopping. Yes, Amazon.com and Target, like all of those things are included when we're talking about variable expenses. The idea is to get a rough idea of what these numbers would be, but let's first write down those. So we'll call this variable. Of course, we're going to have things like groceries, entertainment, again, this could include going out to the movies or something else. And if I misspell it, don't mind me. This could also include things like spending cash or money you spend on your pets. Just think of anything that's outside of like a normal monthly bill. Right, stuff you buy around the house. Finally, I like to put a little bit of a buffer here. I just call it miscellaneous. Sometimes you just don't want to track everything super closely. Just have like a miscellaneous category of like, yeah, I'd spend money on this kind of random stuff, but I don't want to budget for it every month. Just sort of a catch-all. All right, and then finally, we are going to create what are called savings buckets. Now, these savings buckets are where you take like a larger future expense and you break it down and you save small amounts per month toward that thing. So this is stuff like Christmas, or maybe you want to set aside money for car maintenance, or maybe you have a cell phone that you need replaced and you want to start saving up for that new phone. You're going to put small amounts into savings accounts for this, and then you'll have that money for when it happens later. Okay, so now we have your budget categories in place. You're going to want to come up with the numbers. We started with the income at the top, and then now you're going to want to go through and write down some numbers. Now, again, as we talked about at the beginning, these numbers need to be based on reality. Make sure these numbers are based on what you have been spending. You can always make adjustments later, but let's be realistic to start. Your first budget is not going to be perfect. In fact, your first 6 budgets will never be perfect. Things are always changing. You got to be flexible, but let's start somewhere, and that somewhere should be based on your real spending. All right, so I'm just going to kind of fast forward through this and put down some numbers so we have an idea of what this could look like. And I also like to add totals for each of the main 3 categories. So that would be fixed expenses here, is about $2,500. You spend about $1,150 on the variable expenses in this example, and about $600 in the savings buckets. So if you add these 3 numbers together, that's going to be your total for the month. So the total spending here is about $4,250. So now what you can do is you have total income at the top of $5,500. You're going to subtract your total expenses for the month from that. So you're going to go minus $4,250. And this is about how much money you have to start saving and investing your money. So that is going to equal a total of $1,250 per month. So based on this example, you can now save $1,250 per month, which you could put toward an emergency fund, which I highly recommend building something like a 3 to 6 a month emergency fund in case of life emergencies. And then you could start investing that money in something like a Roth IRA, or you could put some more money to your work 401k, something like that. But the idea is just take your income at the top, minus your expenses, fixed, variable, and those savings buckets, and then put aside the rest of your money toward your long-term savings goals. So that's how you put together a basic budget. Now that you know how to set up a basic budget, your income minus your fixed expenses, minus your variable expenses, and your savings buckets, let me show you how easy it is to do this in Lunch Money. So first things first, when you connect to Lunch Money, you're gonna connect your financial accounts. Let me get out of the way here. What you would do is you'd go to setup here and you just hit add accounts. So this is how we make it easy where we're going to auto import your transactions for you. This does a couple of things. Number one, it allows you to see where your money has been going. So it'll automatically categorize, show you your past transactions for the past couple of months. So you can go, oh, okay, this is about how much I spend in these areas, right? We talked about finding your bills and your variable expenses. This is how you do that. You add your financial account. So you would just hit add account here and you would hit auto import from bank. And then what's really cool is you can choose your location and then say that you want to continue. And what it'll do is it uses Plaid to sync with your financial account. Again, it'll just say, let's get started. It'll ask you, where do you want to connect to? So maybe it's Capital One. Maybe Capital One's your regular checking account and you want to log in there. You'll go over to Capital One and connect your account. And as you can see here, I have a few financial accounts already connected. Go to your categories and just add these new categories. So it would be car payment, boom, get that added. Then you can go over and add another category, right? Let's talk about utilities. Utilities, boom, get that added. Maybe a credit card payment. So you put credit card in here, hit add. Boom, okay? So you're gonna add the categories you want, right? We talked about fixed expenses, variable expenses, savings buckets. Get all of those categories added in here, and then we can go to the actual budget section and create the budget. All right, as you can see here, I've put together the categories. So now they're all in here. And we can go back over to the finance section here into the budget and start putting down the numbers that we had talked about. So again, we'll start at the top. Your paycheck's about $4,500. And then from your side hustles, you got about $1,000. Boom. So now you've got your income recorded. Just like that, it adds it up for you, $5,500 total. And now we're gonna go through and go and input all the numbers for these sections. So again, I'll fast forward through this part, but I'm gonna punch all these numbers in so you can see how quickly you could just put together the budget. One thing I wanna note here is you can see as I'm putting these numbers in, you'll see it says average spent over the last 3 months, and then it gives you suggested value. You could literally highlight that and just hit the button and it inputs that figure for you. So that's the really powerful thing about having all of your financial accounts connected here is it knows your spending habits. It knows where your money's been going and on average about how much you spend. So you can quickly just populate this with your average spending instead of guessing. So just wanted to point that out. All right, so now that I've put all the numbers in, you can see we have the budget completed. That's it. So we've total budgeted $4,200, which means we'll have the net savings of about $1,250 at the end of the month. Here's something that Lunch Money also does, though, is it pulls in the money that's available from the previous month. So let's say you had $1,200 still sitting in that account. At the end of this month, you should have about $2,400, right? The new $1,250 savings plus the $1,200. It also tracks your activity. So as money comes in and goes out, you'll see it update live automatically. So when your transactions come through, you categorize them, and now you'll see, I've got money that went out for utilities and I got money that went out for different things. And if you kind of highlight, you can see the previous month's activities as well. So again, you could put together a super simple budget, but then you've got these little powerful data points that help you budget even smarter, help you look at the information faster, and then you'll get real-time updates of how things are going as those transactions go through. So that's how you put together a super simple budget in Lunch Money. There's a bajillion more features we have packed into this thing, but if you're just getting started, you just create your budget categories, you add in the numbers, and we'll do all the math for you, and then we'll track all of those transactions along the way. Now that you know how to put together a basic budget and you've got the baseline numbers to start working with, the important thing is not to just write it down and walk away and then check it in a month and be like, how did I do? No, you have to actually track your progress along the way. Now, of course, here at Lunch Money, that's what we specialize in. We automatically sync your accounts, bring in your transactions. We'll categorize every transaction for you. We're gonna show you data on exactly where your money's going, how it's going. You can see if you're over budget, under budget, all of those things. And we do that automatically in the background for you. You barely have to lift a finger. You can put together a budget and then you can start tracking that progress along the way. Budgeting is just simply a way to make a plan for the money that you make, to make sure no money gets wasted and that it goes where you want it to go. And if you want the super simple shortcut of creating a budget within the Lunch Money app, you can grab a free 30-day trial. There's a link in the description below. You can sign up, connect your checking account, connect your financial accounts, do that initial financial audit where you can see where your money has been going, and then quickly spin up a budget so you could put something together for your future. Then you can keep track along the way, and every time you swipe your card, it'll show up in Lunch Money and you'll know exactly where your money has been going. This is going to accelerate your financial goals. And in fact, if you want to learn how to create better financial goals, check out this video right here where we break down the exact process to create automatic financial goals with our money goal system.